It's crazy. It's 2020, y'all. And I've been doing YouTube videos for, nearly, like, what, at least 7 years? 7 going on 8 years. And it's insane that some of the videos I haven't done. Other people have talked about various characters and done various lists, and I'm starting to do more list videos. And I'm like, I haven't done DC and Marvel character lists, specifically villains. I haven't done villain lists. The best of the best, the greatest of them. That's insane. So we're in here giving you my list of the top 10 Marvel villains. Now, this isn't my favorite Marvel villains list. This isn't the characters I enjoy the most. Now, some of them obviously are on this list, as would be expected, because some of these characters are so phenomenal. In fact, one of these characters is my top 10 favorite characters in fiction history. And that'll be the number one. You probably already know who the top two villains in well, Marvel villains. Some of these may be my all-time favorites. Maybe we'll see. It's tough for how I feel about some of these characters. They differ so much. DC villains, some of them I hold at a very high place. But without further ado, let me know who you think is going to be on the list. I want to know y'all list and what is your reasonings behind these characters. Starting off at number 10, like I said, this is me being as objective and neutral as possible, and I'll give brief reasonings as to why each of these characters made the cut. All right. So number 10, Kingpin Wilson Fisk. Now, I believe this is just evidence in every single series that this man's a part of. In comics, you see his effect. And Spider-Man the animated series, excuse me, dude, come on. You can't tell me Kingpin wasn't a highlight of that series. You go to, the Marvel Daredevil. Come on, bro. First of all, to the actor who played Wilson Fisk, such a phenomenal representation of the character. I couldn't ask for anything better. Whoever just storyboarded that was just magnifico. But Wilson Fisk, why is Wilson on this list? Oh, listen, bro. Kingpin of crime, conceptually, the Don of all Dons, the crime boss of all crime bosses. In New York City, which has Spider-Man, to a lesser degree, the X-Men are often involved there because they were in upstate New York, if I remember correctly. You got the Fantastic Four. You got Daredevil, Matt Murdock in Hell's Kitchen. You have Iron Fist, Danny Rand. You have Luke Cage, Power Man. You have so many other folk. I think the Avengers Mansion was in New York at one point. There's just so many heavy hitters, and Wilson Fisk can go to bat with many of them. And it's not just his brawn, because he's a physical powerhouse. He looks fat, but he's just muscular as hell. He's a highly skilled fighter with his sumo, jujitsu type skills, I think, Hapkido type skills. His brain and intellect, and the fact is, he's able to deduce Daredevil's identity, the whole political play where becoming mayor. He's a kind of character where you could literally see him in pretty much any series. And honestly, he's a kind of character you could have in any era in history. And he still be that dude. Kingpin is a translational character. Conceptually. The exit, like I said, as far as a threat, he's a threat to most characters in the Marvel universe that you run into. And the funny thing is, he's human. He's not overly ridiculous with superpowers. He's a kind of villain that's a throwback to old school, like 30s, 40s, 50s villains. But then, like, you could see him in 60s, 70s, and 80s comics. You could see him in modern comics. He just is literally one of those timeless type villains. All right. But without beleaguering the point, moving on to number 9, Carnage, Cletus, Kasady. Come on, y'all know he had to be on the list. When you think of Marvel and you think of villains, you think of Carnage, pure and simple. I don't care if you're new to the game of Marvel Comics. I don't care if you an old head. Everybody loves Carnage. He's a what I like to call a villain's villain, and we love him for that. Listen, bro, listen. Conceptually, he is literally the definition of a horror villain. And the beautiful thing about him, and we'll address with like what all makes him, and I could do a deep dive into his analysis of his character if you would like me to at certain point, because there's so much about his character that I would love to dig deep on. But listen, bro, listen, bro. I don't care what kind of series you put him in, as far as genre wise. I don't care. I don't care if it's a mystery series. Oh, come on. The character of Carnage? Oh, please. I don't care if it's a horror story. He's literally the poster child for horror stories, right? I don't care if you're talking sci-fi. He literally is the embodiment of 80s wacky sci-fi shit, right? I don't care if it's uh um fantasy, bruh. Magic producing that? Exactly. He literally look at his character. The imagery strikes fear into the soul. Now you might not be afraid of him, but imagine a creature that looked like that. And then on top of that, you have the aspect of sociopathic Cletus Kasady, the psychotic killer, the serial killer. It doesn't get better than this. Horror plus just a murdering rampage. You can't help but be drawn to this freakishly, ghoulishly demonic entity. Dude, beyond concept. How many stories? I mean, one of Marvel's best stories in years. Absolute Carnage came out. Boom. If you need no further, anytime Carnage is put into the mainframe, you know what time it is. Considering he's one of the most difficult and dangerous opponents of Spider-Man Peter Parker, one of the big dogs in comics alongside Superman, Batman, right? You could throw in Wonder Woman as well if you want to. As far as in Marvel, it doesn't really get bigger than Spider-Man. No matter what your perspective on him is, that's reality. Second greatest rogues gallery, and Carnage is right in the midst of it. Carnage is the type of foe that's dangerous for anybody. Anybody can get that work. And the beautiful thing is, you're like, wait a second, power wise, yeah, of course, he's not messing with like someone like Thanos or Darkseid. We're not going that far. But Earth-based characters, he's one of those characters that is so dangerous, not simply because he has some power to back it up, but because his mind, bro. Now, if you win against a planner, sure, they're gonna deal with his ass. But against most foes, he's wrecking shop. And yes, he can be defeated, but he's what you want. And like, he's like, if you were comparing him to like final bosses in a video game, he would be like level 9 out of 10, level 8 or 9 out of 10, right? He would be a tough task to take down. And so, for all of these reasons and more you could go into, that's why he has to be on this list. But coming in at number 8, his pops. Venom. Venom, Eddie Brock. There is no Carnage without Venom. And growing up, if you didn't think of Venom, like again, he's just one of those characters. I don't care if you're new to the game. I mean, you just got a movie came out, and he's more of an anti-hero in that movie. Although, self-admitting, I have not watched the Venom movie, but what they're doing with that whole Morbius and stuff, I might have to go back and watch that Venom movie because I like what they doing. And that Carnage, Venom, seeing Venom 2, I might have to go back and watch that. Okay, now, okay, Sony, okay, I see y'all. But listen, bro, listen. Venom Eddie Brock, the OG Venom. Like, let's not all these up. No, we know what we came for. Look at his early iterations, similar to the Carnage, not as, dastardly looking. But bro, he looks just straight menacing. He's bulked. He's savage. He's stronger, fat. Like, he's a superior Spider-Man, no pun intended, on Dr. Otto Octavius. Dog, I mean, he has all the Spider-Man strengths and weaknesses. They had to give him explodable all of Spider-Man strength. They had to give him explodable weaknesses, but he's just physically dominating and a threat. He's a character that you just look at and is like, bruh, you don't want to fight him. No one wants to face Venom. Even if they can whoop that ass, ain't nobody trying to be out here facing Venom. Superman ain't trying to do it. Hulk ain't trying to do it. Like I said, Thanos, he reckons shop against most people. But unless you talking about like them cosmic level threats, for Earthbound people, Venom is a problem. His concept, the whole revenge aspect at first, the whole that he was formerly, the Venom symbiote was formerly attached with Spider-Man, and that knowledge, and that he's like the father of so much of the symbiote population that we have currently, the legacy aspect about him. They're going more with his character and progressing it. But I mean, you just go back and bro, you can't think of Marvel villains and not think of Venom. For many people, that might be their favorite Marvel villain, and I don't blame them. He's definitely one of my favorite. And he's an all-time favorite villain, and for good reason. Venom. Sometimes you don't have to go overly complex. Sometimes simple is the best route to go. Venom is a timeless type villain. He's another one you can put in pretty much any genre and run with it. And I mean, they've given the Venom symbiote to so many people, so that should just tell you the concept of Venom is glorious and very deserving of this list. But moving on, number 7, Ultron. Y'all know Ultron had to be on this one. The fact that Age of Ultron is a movie should just tell you the reason why he's on this list. Ultron, it's literally conceptually humanity creating its own problems. If for nothing else, that is, if I don't even have to go any further into what Ultron brings to the table, but for nothing else, humanity creating its own problems. From a philosophical perspective, that is one of the just base great qualities of a character, of a concept. And then they ran with it. The fact that he's an Avengers level threat and he's an eternal threat. The fact that you currently have him fused with Hank Pym, Dr. Hank Pym, his creator. Dude, just the levels of complexity from a psychological perspective. The fact that he was a threat to Asgard and Odin and taking out. Come on. He's always a threat, and he can always come back, and he can advance himself. The threat of artificial intelligence on some Terminator status with Skynet. Bro, the threat, like, he's like a Brainiac level threat. But better! He's a Brainiac level threat, but better. He's a legitimate threat to the entirety of the Marvel multiverse. That's what Ultron represents. And it's all because humans, in their hubris, thought they could play God. It doesn't get better than that, does it? Well, on my list it does. Coming in at number 6, Apocalypse. Now, I'm not even an Apocalypse fan, but we got to put respect on the name. Listen, bro. The X-Men got great villains. Let's not even cookie cutter. Let's not play games. Like, while Spider-Man as a whole has the second greatest rogues gallery, the greatest rogues gallery in all Marvel. Pound for pound, the X-Men have the best rogues gallery in Marvel. And it's not even close. Dude. Apocalypse. Survival of the fittest. Social Darwinism. Powerful but manipulative. Do I need to continue to explain why he deserves to be on this list? Bro, Apocalypse has too many damn powers. Apocalypse is a threat to most characters. And he has the intellect to just shut down many more. Plus, he's been enhanced by celestial tech. Like, listen, bro. Apocalypse is that kind of like over-the-top 80s, 90s, just comic book villain, movie villain, whatever villain that we love. And it's like the original Terminator and Terminator Dark Fate, right? What did the most recent Terminator movie, where it just puts fear into you. or just a sense of intimidation factor. It's just like when many of us think of a villain, it's a kind of thing like Apocalypse. He's got his opposing size, his opposing frame. He's this brutish character, but at the same time, he's got the intellect to back it up. And you're just like, bro, can he have any flaws and holes? Hell no! Apocalypse is a final boss type character, level 10, kind 100 type character. Apocalypse is a small type character, right? From The Hobbit. He's that kind of dude. He's the kind of dude who you're just like, oh my god, we hope he's not trying to fight us. We hope he's on our side. That's the kind of character that Apocalypse. And for those reasons and more, I'm sure Apocalypse fans can list. He's got to be on this list. But at coming in at number 5, and either a better example, you know he's on this list, is Thanos. Thanos, however you want to say his name. Thanos, bro. We saw in Infinity War. Come on. What in an Endgame? What better representation than that of why Thanos is obviously on Marvel's top 10 list? Some could argue higher, but no, I can't go above 5. Here's the thing. I'm not even a fan of Thanos, especially because comics Thanos. But Thanos, I mean, come on, bro. This meant, first of all, as a villain, he's actually succeeded on multiple occasions. He's got the Infinity Gauntlet. He got the heart of the universe. He absorbed all the cosmic entities, it seems like, and the one above all. Thank you. Shout out to Rob and Comics Explain for doing those videos. Thank you for helping brothers out who ain't got some of these older comics. But dog, Thanos wins. Thanos has won multiple times. For that alone, he deserves a million. This is because how many villains win consistently? He's a cosmic level entity. He battles against the best of the best. He's outsmarted, outwitted. And that's the thing. He's Apocalypse on steroids. He's Apocalypse on steroids. All of that I just mentioned about Apocalypse, he's even greater than him. So obviously he's on this damn list. So I'm not even, listen, you know Thanos if you know Marvel. So I'm not going to have to take time. If you here for this video, y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. Coming in at number 4, Loki. Y'all best put respect on one of the OG villains' names. One of the original villains, bruh. Loki. Why is Loki above Thanos and Apocalypse, you might ask? Simple. The wild card. Sometimes you need a villain that you don't know what the hell is gonna happen. It makes for phenomenal storytelling, as it adds for character complexity. Even though you can't trust them, you never know what to expect from them, and that's the beautiful thing about Loki. Loki is mad underrated. He's got the sorcery game. Loki's physical as an Asgardian, not as much as Thor, but most people aren't Thor. But the aspect about Loki that's just so beautiful is that Loki is, he's a classic villain. You know how I mentioned that Carnage is a villain's villain? Loki's one of them classic villains that he's just there. And you're just waiting on the double cross. But then it comes at the most unexpected time. The mischievous, he's always plotting. Yeah, sure, he's got the power, but it's the cerebral aspect. It's a developed villain. Now, some could have him lower on this list, but regardless, you gotta have him on this list. And the thing about it is, to me, he's thus far, the most cerebral of all the villains. You could argue Kingpin as well, but Kingpin is usually more localized. When it comes to Loki, not just because he's Asgardian, but his schemes, bro. His schemes are just so grand. And even as a non-antagonist, Loki is stay moving. That's what you gotta respect about him. Like, they don't even properly represent him in the MCU, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Gotta put some respect on Loki's name, bro. Coming in at number 3. Now, let me put this way. Some will find out that Dormammu's not on this list. And some could say that's a snub. Dormammu, when it comes to Dr. Stephen Strange, sure. But Dormammu as a whole with Marvel is not that impactful. Plus, Dormammu's more contained to the Dark Dimension, he doesn't impact the Marvel landscape like all the rest of these. He might be like number 11 on the list or top 15, sure. But number 3, Mephisto. 2 words, Ghost Rider. Oh my goodness, Johnny Blaze. Here's the thing, bro. The classic Lucifer, the classic Dr. Faustus Mephisto. Sell your soul to the devil. Robert Johnson, if you know one of the godfathers of blues. Sell your soul to the devil. Anytime you make a deal with Mephisto, Mephisto's always trying to one-up you. I would love to see John Constantine versus Mephisto. That will be a story I'm trying to read in by the way. John Constantine from DC versus Mephisto. Who you got coming out on top? Who you got coming out on top? The fact that I have to put in a story like that right there is a bestseller right there. But Mephisto has outsmarted plenty of the wiliest characters in Marvel. And he's a character who's powerful as hell. One of the most powerful characters in Marvel. But he doesn't have to use his power. But then again, he's not stupid. Like, he's a villain, but he doesn't have to be a villain. He chooses just to screw with people. Just cause. He chooses, and he makes deals like he embodies the fears of many men and women of being had. Because if you take it on a more conceptually based, think about that. Let's say if you're negotiating for a car, for a house, for contractual contractual agreements. I was going to say obligations. Whatever you're negotiating, every single one of us wants the best deal that we can get, right? If you ever bartered in a marketplace kind of thing, all of us, you get your product or you get your service, you never want a bad deal, right? That's what Mephisto represents. That the house is always rigged. We go to a casino or you gamble and you're trying to win, but Mephisto is the house and he plays it well. And in fact, that whole damnation storyline with Dr. Stephen Strange and when Johnny Blaze becomes the king of hell, just such a good, solid, unexpected story. No pun intended on my name. But Mephisto represents so many aspects. Again, if you want me to, we can get into his character with conceptually based. But he's a different type of villain. He has the power to back it up, but he doesn't even have to use his power. It's simple trickery. He's like John Constantine, but villain version. And if you know Hellblazer, that's all. What more do I need to say? Coming in at number 2, Magneto. One of the greatest villains of all time. Do I need to explain exactly why Magneto is easily, some could argue, the best villain in Marvel? Listen, bro. Classic. I mean, he goes all the way back to X-Men 1. His ideology, his history, he is like the definition of a complex, well-developed, well-characterized villain. Like, he's one of the granddads of modern villains, as far as its modern storytelling. Magneto has it all: motivation, ideology, power, magnetism, electromagnetism is beastly, menacing, intellect, whatever you want. Magneto's got it. He's got it. And the only one coming in number one, I don't gotta spend time on Magneto. Y'all already know he's on this list. In the first one of the greatest villains of all time, top dog in Marvel, Dr. Victor Von Doom. Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Avengers, you name it, this man has faced it. This man, he shouldn't be as powerful, but his mind. You'll notice that all of the top dogs on this list, it's their mental capacity. Hell, 7 or 8 out of 10 of these are partially because of mind games. I respect, and you can say I'm taking dog. I'm looking at what you represent. And the intellectual aspect, all you gotta say is God Emperor Doom. All you gotta say is Secret Wars Doom. The fact that everybody is concerned about this man. The fact that in the Ultimate Universe, Doom was that dude. Listen, bro. Dr. Victor Von Doom. If he really wants to, he's putting in that word Batman, Bruce Wayne style. Dr. Doom, man. He's got it all. He doesn't need to be as powerful as some of the characters on this list because he plans, he preps, he's got the ability. He's one of the beautiful things I love about his character is he was a king of Latvia. He had diplomatic immunity, and he actually cares about his people on some Black Adam status. There's just so much to respect about the villain that is Doctor Doom. And he's another character that can be used in any way, any era. You could tell his story in 17,000 different ways, and almost every single one of them will be good. You could tell stories of Doctor Doom for pretty much to the end of time, and it doesn't get old. He's a timeless villain. I mean, jeez. He also reminds me, was it the Man in the Iron Mask? Or is it Count of Monte Cristo kind of thing? I'm trying to think. It's been a minute, but that kind of thing, the whole persona in the armor and whatnot, it's just beautiful. The imagery of this character, he looks inhuman because of it, so it allows for that aspect of a dehumanization impersonal, a monster that isn't a monster. It plays into the whole thing of the fear of clowns, the fear of mask characters, the fear of costume characters. It's just beautifully done. Unexpected One, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. What, again, is your top 10 list? Do you agree with mine? Did you think I snubbed somebody? Who you think I left off? I could have brought in Kane the Conqueror, but to me, he doesn't make the cut over these cats. You know, and Kang, besides, Kang be on that anti-villain, anti-hero status too much. But anyways. All right, y'all. Have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Peace. And let me know if there is any other videos, any other topics of discussion that you would like me to handle, any lists you would like me to debunk, just let me know. We out.